The question is that the document be noted, and I give the call to the Assistant Minister for Defence.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak for an entire, not just this bill, but an entire generation of Australians who've been locked out of the housing market because of the policies, or should I say lack of policies, of previous governments. Now, this generation of young Australians have had this lockout not because they lacked ambition, but because the system itself has put home ownership increasingly out of their reach. For too long, Deputy Speaker, young people in this country have felt let down by their opportunities or not having any opportunity to purchase their own home. Now, we on this side of the House are very cognisant of the challenges they've faced. And that's why, since we came to government, we have been making the ability, the opportunity for young people to get into the housing market a priority of government, a priority of this government. That's why, backing up that cognisance of understanding the challenge, we have made record investments in housing in this country. We've actually backed it up with record investments. And from October 1st this year, Deputy Speaker, even more young Australians will be able to realise their dream of home ownership. And that's thanks to this government, the Albanese government's bringing forward our home guarantee scheme to allow first home buyers to buy a home with just 5% deposit. And you heard that right, Deputy Speaker, it's just 5% deposit. We're bringing down all first home deposits from 20% to 5% this year from the 1st of October, because affordable and secure housing should be a human right in this country. It's about dignity. Now, I know and it is valid as well, that housing in Australia has also been a vehicle for investment and so on, and that's fine. But having a roof over your head, having your own home, is really about basic human dignity. And it is the foundation, literally, the physical foundation, to be able to then fulfil your potential, to move and fulfil your potential in the workforce, the social and economic opportunities, the educational opportunities that flow from that foundation. But the first and foremost, it's a bit like Maslow, if you're familiar with it, Deputy Speaker, get that house in place, that shelter in place first, and it is about human dignity. And so I think, Deputy Speaker, that housing needs to be seen in this frame, the importance of it for every single Australian and their future ability to fulfil their potential. In the first year, in just the first year alone, first home buyers that will be using this scheme that we are debating here, Deputy Speaker, are expected to avoid around $1.5 billion in potential mortgage insurance costs. That's a massive amount that will be avoided. And we're not going to stop there, Deputy Speaker. We won't stop there, despite whatever arguments are made on the other side for political point scoring, because for single parents, we'll continue a family home guarantee that helps them to buy a home with a 2% deposit. 2%, not 5%, 2%. That is amazing. And since coming to office in 2022, the Labor government has helped over 180,000 first home buyers get a home of their own with a lower deposit. That's 180,000 families. That's a lot of people that have been given the opportunity to build that foundation and to have that foundation to fulfil their potential in life. On average, Deputy Speaker, there have been more than 6,000 more first home buyer loans a year under Labor compared to the Coalition's previous period in office. That's 6,000 more than the other mob. Now, the median home price in Australia today is $844,000, and 5% of that is around $42,200. The last time $42,200 covered the 20% deposit for a median home loan, median home was 2002, Deputy Speaker, which shows the generational scale of this change. Deputy Speaker, this is in stark contrast to the housing policies, if I could call them that, brought by the Coalition to this year's election and during the campaign. Their solution to the housing crisis, Deputy Speaker, let first home owners access up to $50,000 of their super, their own super, to buy a home. Now, Deputy Speaker, I'm not sure what they were thinking, what kind of fantasy this was. Not only was this policy completely irresponsible, but no one across from us had the foresight to think how this would inadvertently bring up housing prices. So unlike this horrid election commitment that was made by the coalition, we are putting forward, Deputy Speaker, real tangible relief for millions of Australians in this country, in this bill and this scheme and all the others that I've spoken about. We were re-elected with a clear mandate to bring down the deposit hurdle for first home buyers, and we are delivering on that, Deputy Speaker. In my electorate of Wills, 38% of my constituents are renters. Now, the expanded scheme means a first home buyer in Wills could purchase a $600,000 home with only a $30,000 deposit. They could save up to 6 years off the time it takes to save for a deposit, save about $25,000 in mortgage insurance, and that is a very important element, and they could pay up to around $126,000 towards their own loan instead of paying rent. And that will make a difference to the future for all of those people. Since its inception, there has been 1,010 people in Wills, in my electorate, accessing our home guarantee scheme. Deputy Speaker, as I said, the importance of affordable housing is critical to be the foundation for people wanting to fulfil their potential. Now, I grew up in inner-city Melbourne in public housing. I'm a houso. In the 70s and 80s, we grew up in a housing commission, as it's called in Victoria. I share that with the Prime Minister, who if you don't know, he grew up in social housing. And yeah, everyone knows. They might not know that about me, though. And so that access to affordable housing for my family, migrant family that came to Australia in the 70s, having access to that helped level the playing field to a certain extent, and it offered my family a real equality of opportunity. And it was because of the policies of Labor governments, both state and federal, that we were given that opportunity. And despite many of the challenges that we faced and the prejudices, it gave me the chance to succeed based on hard work, on merit, on the fact that we had that foundation, that we weren't worried about being able to have a place to live. We were given that opportunity. The 5% deposit scheme brought forward by the government will now make it even easier for those growing up in situations like mine to purchase their first home and have that foundation as well, Deputy Speaker. As I said, Deputy Speaker, we were elected with a clear mandate to bring down the deposit hurdle for first home buyers. That's what we're doing today with this debate. We have an ambitious $43 billion housing agenda that is actually delivering on our promise, our election commitments, because this government is about delivery. When you get rid of all the white noise, all the sound and fury that comes from the opposition benches and the crossbench and all the rest of it, in the end, in this country, Australians look to their government, the federal government, to fulfil their commitments, to deliver on our commitments to them that we made. And we are building more homes to deliver that commitment. We're backing first home buyers and we're supporting renters as well. We're making the Australian dream of home ownership attainable for millions of Australians, as it should be. Because I think it's true to say, and I would hope this is agreed upon right across this place, that every Australian deserves the opportunity, the chance to own their own home. And it shouldn't be just someday into the distant future, but it should be sooner. And this government, the Labor government, the Albanese Labor government, is working hard every day to deliver and make that dream a reality.